There's a fucking massive spider up there. Hiya, and welcome back to the channel. So I'm about to jump into the last episode of The Rings of Power, so that's episode 8. I'm very nervous after the absolute mess I was watching episode 7 and episode 6. I have to say I wasn't prepared for how much those episodes would affect me, especially the last one. I didn't think I'd grown quite so attached to the characters in the story, but apparently I have. But yeah, quite a lot has obviously happened. I don't want to go into too big of a recap because it is still absolutely roasting here. This room is very stuffy. I've got the fan going. I just kind of want to get this recorded as quickly as possible before I melt. But yeah, I think the biggest takeaway of like last episode is it was very sad and it made me cry a lot. No, but seriously, we saw the aftermath of the volcano eruption. Basically, the whole of the Southlands looks like it's been absolutely destroyed. The big reveal at the end of the last episode is that the Southlands is now Mordor. Obviously, we know where that is because of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and stuff. That feels like it's a pretty big deal. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what to expect from this episode. Presumably, we're going to wrap up a few things. We've got Elrond trying to get the dwarves to agree to mine the mithril. We've got the hobbits going after the stranger because he's kind of left them now, and we've obviously got the people from Numenor. They're sailing back their island, but from the sounds of it, it looks like they're going to come back and help, and Galadriel and Halbrand are going to Lindon, I believe. So yeah, I think that's probably it. But yeah, before we jump into this episode, I just wanted to thank you all for subscribing, and I really appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to stop by and support the channel, so thank you. So with that said, let's jump into The Rings of Power, episode 8. Straight into it. I still have literally no clue who he is. I thought at first that he might be Sauron, but that does not seem likely at all, considering he's like...
You're good.
Who was that? Oh, he's lost his apple. Did the hobbits catch up with him?
No.
That's one of the robed people. Oh no. See, I thought he was one of them, but he can't be?
Tulil men noritas. Heru Sauron.
I have the fucking biggest goosebump. What the So he is Sauron. So has he forgotten who he was? Or was he not evil to start with? Because I'm trying to remember the lore. Wasn't he like friends with Gandalf originally? Weren't they both wizards or whatever it was Gandalf was? And Sauron turned to the darkness. So maybe... Well, no, but he has to be evil already because everybody associates Sauron with being evil. I'm very confused.
Gil-galad arrives tomorrow, expecting to be presented with a means of saving all Elvendom. And we have none.
If only there was some way of doing more with less.
Galadriel? King of the Southlands. How is it your path crossed with his? Come, we have much to discuss.
Because she was supposed to go back west, wasn't she?
Who's there? Reveal yourself.
Is Galadriel here?
No. Shouldn't you be resting?
What is this place?
This was the workshop of Celebrimbor.
The Celebrimbor? He's not here, is he?
Well, as a matter of fact, he is. He was Smith.
Well, nothing like your artistry. This is a peculiar ore. What is it?
Not enough.
Enough for what?
Please.
Have you tried combining it with other ores to better stretch it out? Couldn't the right alloy also amplify those qualities?
Amplify.
Where I came up, precious metals were scarce as hen's teeth. So we learned to combine them, to harness strengths and hide flaws. Might there not be some alloy to amplify the qualities of your ore?
One object for all Middle Earth.
I know it sounds strange, High King, but surely we should exhaust every possible solution.
Circular form will be ideal, allowing the light to arc back upon itself in one unbroken round, building to a power.
And you would place all that power upon the brow of one being?
High King, we ask only for the time needed to gather the Elven Smiths and test Celebrimbor's theory.
Our time runs short.
Yes, that is why.
Shorter than you know. Since the Mountain of Fire's eruption, the great tree is all but bleeding leaves. Soon the last will fall, and unless our people leave these shores, so shall we.
I almost had it sooner. It was only in speaking with the Southlander that I realized.
The Low Man? This idea was his?
His suggestions were but the key that unlocked the dam. We are on the cusp of crafting a new kind of power. Not of the flesh, but over flesh.
I am sorry, Lord Celebrimbor. You are hereby commanded to disband the city.
Those words, power over flesh, where did you hear them?
I was conferring with my smiths, I think. I believe those are my words.
Was Halbrand with you?
High King, wait!
It is a fool's hope, Elrond. Merely that, nothing more.
Hope is never mere. Not even when it is meager. Or have you forgotten your own counsel?
Have some of that.
Anything you can find on the Southlands.
Don't be afraid. Celebrimbor will find a way. I'm certain of it.
All of a sudden, the two of you seem quite familiar.
I'm just offering whatever humble aid I can. Thank you, Galadriel,
For bringing you here,
for saving my life.
as you saved mine. Our scales are balanced.
Do not be afraid, Master. The more your powers awaken, the more the veil will weaken. One placed upon your mind by those who cast you down. But we have come here to bring you to our lands. In time, he will learn to control his powers. For now, bind him. What is it?
The third one's gone. Where'd the third one go? Now's our chance.
I'm really not sure that rescuing Sauron is the way to go, honestly. Yeah, I would not be messing with these people. That's kind of cool though.
Take it. We need you. Please just take it.
Get away from me, or I will hurt you again.
What have they done to you?
They showed me what I am.
You choose by what you do. You're here to help. I know it. Close your eyes. It'll only hurt for a moment.
From shadow you came,
To Shadow I bid you return.
He is not Sauron. He is the other. He is...
I'm good.
I don't know what he just did, but that was really cool.
Sadek?
Oh shit, he got stabbed, didn't he?
Now, if you don't mind, I'd just like to sit a while, watch the sun come up.
I have you.
And who has you, given your loss? I would understand it if upon our return you wish to take a leave of duty.
You once asked me why I pulled Galadriel from the sea. I claim to have had little choice. But the truth is, I could have left her there. Yet at every turn, I made the choices I did because...
Why, Elendil?
Because Elendil does not merely mean one who loves the stars. I just never imagined it would lead here.
My father once told me that the way of the faithful is committing to pay the price, even if the cost cannot be known, and trusting that in the end it will be worth it.
Sometimes the cost is dear.
It is.
And I, for one, will see to it that we make the end worth the price.
Come what may.
Come what may.
Good.
My lady.
Galadriel! We found it. I don't know how we missed it before. It's too much power for one object. We need two.
Or three?
Come, see for yourself.
Not until you tell me who you are.
You know who I am.
Who you really are.
Galadriel, I'm afraid I don't...
There is no king of the Southlands. The line was broken.
I told you I found it on a dead man.
No. No, on the raft, you saved me.
On the raft, you saved me. You convinced her. I wanted to remain in Numenor.
You fought beside me.
Against your enemy. And mine.
Tell me your name.
I have been awake since before the breaking of the first silence. In that time, I have had many names.
Get out of my mind.
So he was Sauron the entire time? Halbrand.
He was seeking a power, not to destroy Middle-earth, but to heal it. Just as your fellow elves are seeking to do this very moment. You needn't lie to them. Simply let the work proceed.
My brother is dead. Because of you.
Galadriel! Look at me! Galadriel, look at me. You know who I am. I am your friend.
You are a friend of Morgoth's.
I knew if ever I was to be forgiven, that I had to heal everything that I had helped ruin.
No penance could ever erase the evil you have done.
I alone can see your greatness.
You would make me a tyrant.
I would make you a queen.
And you, my king, the Dark Lord.
No. Not dark. Not with you at my side. You bind me to the light, and I bind you to power. Together, we can save this Middle-earth.
Save. Or rule.
I see no difference.
And that is why I will never be at your side.
You have no choice. Without me, your people will fade. And the shadow will spread and darken to cover all the world. You need me.
I should have left you on the sea.
A sea that you were on because the elves cast you out. They cast you out for deigning to beg them for a few petty soldiers. What will they do when you tell them that you are my ally? When you tell them that Sauron lives because of you!
And you will die because of me!
I know I'm not saying a lot, but this is so cool.
Where is he?
Workshop. You'll almost be finished by now.
Galadriel! Galadriel!
Is it done?
Where is Halbrand?
He is gone. And I doubt he will return. And should he ever, none of us are to treat with him again.
So, do we proceed?
No. We must make 3.
3? Why 3?
One will always corrupt. 2 will divide.
With 3, there is balance.
Powers we forge today must be for the elves alone.
Galadriel, I need gold and silver from Valinor. True creation requires sacrifice.
Brother's dagger.
Do you remember anything more yet?
Fragments.
He's not Sauron, he's somebody else.
War has come, but to discover the rest, I know I must go to Rune.
They called you something else. Istad.
Istar. In your tongue, that means wise one. Or wizard.
Go on. You're part of something bigger now.
He needs you. And you belong out there.
Stick close to that tall fella. He's a good friend in a spot.
Are you certain?
More than ever.
There it is.
Are you sure?
Not entirely. There's a sweet smell on the air this way. When in doubt, Eleanor Brandyfoot. Always follow your nose.
What has he realised? Is he going to realise that was Sauron? Kind of is the king of the Southlands, really, isn't he?
For the elven kings under the
I don't know really where to start with that episode. It was really weird in that, like, it doesn't feel like anything really happened. I expected a lot more action from that episode, and there wasn't any. Or not, well, there was a little bit, I suppose, with the hobbits, but like the reveal at the beginning of the episode before the opening credits, when it was kind of implied that the stranger was Sauron, just right after I'd said that I'd thought he was Sauron, like initially, still shocked me, because I'd kind of thought, well, he's clearly not evil, or, you know, he at least has the capacity to do good, and it feels like he cares about people. He's not just some evil, let's just kill and hurt people for the sake of of it type of thing. You know, obviously he did her, like Nori, and he killed the glowbug things in the lantern. There wasn't kind of any intent behind that. So like, I kind of dismissed the thought that he was Sauron pretty quickly, but I have to say I absolutely did not see Halbrand being Sauron at all. I did not see that coming. I'm still actually shocked by that. Usually I kind of, you know, quite with most sort of shows, you do kind of get like a little hint and they kind of try to throw you off with other things and you're never quite sure, and you know, you might not think that person, like the Sauron thing, the stranger, if he had turned out to be Sauron, it was still like surprising to find that out. That did still surprise me, but it was something that I'd considered before, so it wasn't like that big of a shock, really. Whereas the Halbrand thing was just like, I hadn't even considered it at all. Not once. I've thought plenty of people were Sauron. I thought Adar was Sauron. Obviously, if you've been watching the other reactions, you'll know that I was calling Adar Sauron for like 3 episodes, I think it was. But I never suspected Halbrand at all. And I'm really tempted to go back and rewatch the lot because I just want to see if there was any hints that he wasn't what he seemed to be. And obviously the robed people that were after the stranger, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of the land that they were from, which was like far to the east, but obviously they thought he was Sauron as well, and he wasn't. He was somebody else. And honestly, I'm not quite sure who the stranger's supposed to be. Now obviously they called him Istar, which he says means wizard, which... Now, I could be completely butchering the lore here, so apologies in advance if that's what I'm about to do. But Sauron was also a wizard, wasn't he? Wasn't it like Sauron the White and Gandalf the Grey or something like that? So Sauron was originally good. But the fact that both Sauron and Gandalf, I believe, knew each other at one point when they were both good. Obviously Gandalf was always good, but you know what I mean, when Sauron was good as well. Which makes me wonder... And again, apologies. Is the stranger supposed to be Gandalf? Now, like I said, it's been a long time since I've read the books or watched the film, so I'm very rusty on the lore. But I thought Gandalf was a man, so he was mortal, which obviously, if that is the case, that cannot be Gandalf because he would be dead. Sauron is obviously a long-lived person because he's still around in Lord of the Rings, and if he's alive now, like during the Rings of Power, then he's obviously immortal. So that makes me think that Gandalf might be as well. Which, in fact, I think Gandalf is immortal, isn't he? I don't remember. I'm not sure. But anyway, my conclusion is that the stranger might be Gandalf. Possibly. Yeah, if I am completely wrong about that, I'm just going to have to look like a complete tit for a while until you all forget that I said that. And then we can just kind of sweep it under the carpet. But yeah, it feels like there was a lot happening as well with the elves. I mean, obviously there was a lot happening because they were trying to save themselves, you know, they needed the mithril. And I didn't quite get the reasoning behind making the rings. And I'll probably get it more when I go back and edit and kind of see it again. But I don't understand how making the rings is helping the elf. Like, I get what Halbrand was saying about using an alloy to obviously increase what you've got, basically, you know, to make it sort of go further. I get that. But 3 rings? Is that enough? Like, the piece of mithril was like this big, and you've got 3 rings which are like smaller as far as mass goes, and I'm just like, so how does that work? I'm just not quite sure of the mechanics of how that's working. Now, obviously, the rings have got some sort of power attached to them, and I'm not sure if that's coming from the mithril, or if it's coming from the elves, or if it's coming from Sauron, because he seems pretty keen to get the rings made. Now, obviously, I know from obviously Lord of the Rings and stuff that the one ring had powers, but also it was, you know, it had darkness to it. The guy that stole the ring in The Hobbit got all weird and stuff, and then obviously Bilbo had the ring and he got a bit funny about it, and then Frodo had it, and it's obviously tempted a lot of people, and I'm just, you know, so there's obviously a darkness to it. And I'm assuming that one of those rings is that ring, or those rings are the precursors to the One Ring? I'm not sure. I am absolutely butchering the lore here. And I tell you what, this show has made me want to go back and rewatch the Lord of the Rings films, and I think I'm actually going to have to do that, because either that or read the books, because I need to know what is going on here. Basically, I need things confirmed, because this has been really, really enjoyable. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting a lot going into it, because I'd heard that it wasn't well received, I don't think. And honestly, I'm not sure why. I mean, maybe I'd have had a different opinion if I'd sort of watched the movie sort of more recently and was in a better position to be able to pick holes in it and that sort of thing. But from somebody that knows the basic story and has read the books but a long time ago, this show was really, really good. It was definitely slow. There was a lot of kind of build up. You know, if you think about it, we had like episode 6 was quite actiony. We had episode 7, which was also quite, you know, climactic. This episode 8, has felt a lot more calm in comparison to those. And then the first 5 episodes were obviously quite slow as well. So, it was quite oddly balanced, maybe. It just felt like there was a lot of build-up for a couple of episodes which were quite action-packed. And then, like, this finale has been quite tame in some ways. It was good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the shocks, you know, the first Sauron reveal, which turned out to be like a red herring, and then the real Sauron reveal was really good. But like for the rest of it, it just felt a little bit like I wanted to know what was happening to the people from the Southland, like Bronwyn and Theo and Arondir, the guy. I wanted to know how Doran was doing. Do you know what I mean? So it was little things that I kind of would have wanted sort of wrapped up a little bit more, I think. But then I guess that maybe leaves it open for a second season. Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. That might explain why I feel like there's something missing from this last episode. Is honestly, I was fully expecting Isil to be alive, because in the last episode when his dad let Beric go and he went galloping off across the fields, I was expecting the horse literally to go straight to Isil and to find him alive and to somehow bring him back. So I was kind of waiting for that to happen, and it didn't. And I'm just like, oh. I don't think that's something they'll stretch into the next season, so I'm just going to assume now that Isil is actually dead. But yeah, I was kind of holding on to that hope throughout the last episode, and then I kind of thought, well, maybe they'll do it in this episode, and they haven't. So yeah. I don't know why. Isil wasn't a big character. He wasn't anybody that I particularly cared about, but I think it's just the fact of how it affected his dad. So it would have just been nice for him to get a bit of closure, I think. If you've enjoyed this reaction, feel free to like the video. Let me know what you thought of the episode or the show overall in the comments down below. And if you want to see more reactions like this, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. So with that said, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.